One of the most common questions I get from guys is this: Marnie, how do I keep the conversation going when talking to girls? How do I keep my mind from going blank? I've been getting this question for years, for such a long time now. So I thought I should make a video, an in-depth video on exactly how to do it. But then something interesting happened. I was talking to one of my new wing girls on my team, this gorgeous, bubbly young girl named Lauren, who's awesome. And she began to tell me how she had been on multiple dates where the guy ran out of things to say, and it was just really awkward for both of them. Not only that, unprompted, she also began to tell me why this happens to guys and all the different ways guys can keep the conversation going with women. That's when I thought, wait a second, why don't I let her do this video, and why don't I let her tell you those tips and tricks that she shared with me? So that's exactly what I'm going to do today. It's exactly what I'm going to do right now. So in a second, you're about to hear from Lauren, my beautiful, smart, enthusiastic, and amazing wing girl. And she's going to show you 6 tricks that'll make sure you never run out of things to say in conversation. So keep watching this video and say hello to Lauren. I think you're going to love her.
Hey there, I'm Lauren, and I am so excited to meet you all today. This topic of how to keep the conversation going definitely hits home for me. As Marnie already told you, I've been on multiple dates where the guy ran out of things to say. In fact, I remember one time I went on a blind date with this guy my friend set me up with. And my God, was that a train wreck. We went to a cute little cafe, which was great, and we were there for about 2 hours. But believe it or not, at least one of those 2 hours, there was hardly any conversation. And when there was conversation, it was all a bunch of basic questions like, where are you from? Or what do you do? Do you have any siblings? It was awful. Anyways, enough about my dating life. Let me tell you what that guy could have done to save the date and how you can avoid those horribly awkward silences yourself. Here are my top 6 tips to never run out of things to say. If you find them useful, please be sure to drop a like and let me know. And of course, don't forget to subscribe to this channel for more amazing weekly tips on how to attract the woman of your dreams. All right, here we go. Tip number 1, ditch your crazy expectations. As I was telling Marnie in our conversation, the number 1 reason I believe that guys run out of things to say is because they have extremely high standards for themselves. Meaning, it's not that they don't have things to say, it's that they believe the things they have are not good enough. I mean, think about it for a second. You've had countless experiences in your life from childhood till now. You have learned about a variety of different things. You've watched too many movies and TV shows to count. You may have traveled to different exciting places. You've made mistakes. You've had embarrassing moments. You've talked to others about their stories in their own lives. You have an endless supply of things to talk about. So how can you ever run out of things to say? I mean, really. You only freeze up because you make it hard for yourself. You think you have to say the perfect thing all the time, but that's not the case at all. Think about what you do with your friends. Are you always saying the most amazing, interesting, and intellectual things? If you're a normal person, then probably not. You talk about anything and everything. The tacos you had for lunch yesterday, your noisy neighbors, the new show you've been binging on Netflix. Anything goes. And you should do the same with women. Believe me, we're curious to know about you. If we're there with you, giving you our time, it means we want to know about you. So stop holding yourself back. Unless you're talking about something like completely distasteful, like taxidermy or diarrhea, nothing is off the table. So just ditch your crazy high standards, stop filtering yourself, and let things flow. Tip number 2, use open-ended questions. Simply put, open-ended questions are questions which require a long answer. And you should use them as much as you can. For example, instead of asking a girl, "How was your weekend?" you could ask, "What do you do on your weekends?" The first question invites a short answer like, "It was good," or "It was okay." Whereas the second question, the more open-ended one, invites a longer answer. Now the girl can go into different things she does on the weekends. And those things could turn into great conversation threads. The guy I went on a blind date with did not get this. Almost all of his questions were close-ended. Where did you grow up? What part of town do you live in? Do you have any pets? All of those can be answered in very few words. If he had followed up with some open-ended questions after asking these, we could have had a much better conversation. For example, when he asked me, "Where are you from?" I told him Chicago. After that, if he had followed up with an open-ended question like, "Oh, that's interesting. What was it like growing up in Chicago?" I would have given him a much longer and detailed answer, and that could have led to more things to talk about. At least you won't make that same mistake now. Moving on to tip number 3. Gather conversation threads. So when you're having a conversation with a woman and she's talking, you need to put these things to work and listen. Most guys try to think of the next funny thing to say when a girl is talking, and they start getting anxious and they can't find anything. The question is, why go through all that trouble? Why stress yourself out? If you simply relax and listen, you'll gather many conversation threads to jump on. Your brain will automatically find things to talk about based on what the woman is talking about. In fact, as you're listening to me right now, isn't it true that you have different things going on in your mind based on what I am saying? And if you simply verbalize those ideas, stories, questions, or whatever's in your mind, don't you think we could have a great conversation going? I know we could. So remember this when you're chatting with that girl you like. Next up, tip number 4, have some go-to stories. If you have a bunch of go-to stories in your arsenal, it'll give you a great advantage in conversation. What are go-to stories? Well, they're just memorable stories from your life that you find interesting. They could be about anything. For example, your occupation, your hometown, your last weekend, your pets, hobbies, concerts, memorable trips, family, high school, your dating history, your friends. The possibilities are endless. It could even be stories you've heard from other people that you found fascinating, or stories you've read or watched somewhere. Where they come from doesn't matter. What matters is that you have a few of these in your mind. You can bring these up in conversation and immediately spice things up. A good story will always be enjoyable and liven up a conversation. So you can be assured that the girl you're talking to will love listening to them, and she'll find you charismatic and interesting. Moving on, tip number 5, use callbacks. When you reach a complete standstill in the conversation, a moment where you just can't find anything to say, and your mind has pretty much given up, simply use callbacks, meaning you simply redirect the conversation to a topic or story you guys already discussed. For example, if at the beginning of the conversation, the girl was telling you how much she likes horseback riding, and now you've reached an awkward silence, you could just call back to that topic of horseback riding. You could ask her something about it. You could make a comment about it like, I keep thinking of what you said about horseback riding, and I think I have to try it someday. Or you could even dive into a related story by saying something like, by the way, that thing you said about horses just reminded me of this time when, and then you tell your story. Callbacks are the easiest way to revive a dead conversation. Consider callbacks your get out of jail free card and use them whenever you get in trouble. Finally, tip number 6. Learn some banter techniques. Banter is the exchange of lighthearted, witty remarks and is by far one of the best ways to bond with a woman. It shows that you're fun, playful, and really paying attention. Nothing makes a conversation more engaging for us than some good back and forth banter. In fact, if I look at the guys I've dated in the past, almost all of them were great at banter, and that's how we initially connected. It's such an important skill to have in your arsenal. Plus, the best part is, Marnie has already made it so easy for you to master the art of banter. I mean, if you want to become a smooth, talking, witty banter expert over the next weekend, all you'd have to do is check out the Banter Guide. The Banter Guide is an amazing program made by Marnie's friend and #1 world expert on banter, Christian Carney. And if you follow what she reveals in this guide, you'll be able to hook any girl's attention in any environment, including text, make her laugh without any struggle, build attraction out of thin air, even if you're not her usual type. And most importantly, be a master at starting engaging conversations. This guide breaks down the art of witty banter into such easy to understand chunks that you can learn everything over just a short weekend. In other words, if you can carefully go through it once, your brain will instantly get what to do. The skill of banter and a sharp new sense of humor will be installed in your system, ready to use whenever you need it. In fact, if by any chance it doesn't, or if you're not totally in love with this guide, you can get all your money back, no questions asked. To find out more about the Banter Guide, simply click the button on your screen or the link in the description. You'll be led to a short video where Marni reveals all there is to know about it. Believe me, if you find it hard to talk to women, this guide could change the game for you. Over 21,000 of Marni's students have used this guide and confirmed that it really does work like a charm. So if you're interested in knowing more about the Banter Guide, just click the link in the description below. Anyways, I hope you liked today's video. Thank you so much for watching. If you found this video useful, drop me a like and let me know. I hope I'll see you again someday soon. Bye.